first time doing a live video. It's Sunday afternoon and I am out in my backyard trying to rehab some old chairs. We've got these 4 backyard patio chairs and they're kind of old and dusty and the color is faded, so I am washing them off. And I love to spray paint some things. I will get old furniture, sand it down and repaint it, and spray painting is just the easiest way to make it happen. So that's my plan with these chairs. But that's not necessarily what I'm here to talk to you about. I am again outside and I have to tell you this breeze is fantastic. I'm sitting in my backyard and my 2 dogs are over there on the other side of the fence. I went to church this morning and we had family day, so that's a day when everybody brings a dish and we all eat together after church. So that was great. And I came home. I don't know if you can hear my dryer running in the background because through that door is my laundry room, and then that leads to the rest of the house. So I've got some clothes going, I've got this project going, then later, probably pretty soon I have to go pick up my daughters who are babysitting, and it's just a regular afternoon. It's been a very busy weekend. We had a lot of prep work to do on Friday so that we could do all the things that we did yesterday. I'm really kind of glad that choir practice was canceled yesterday. Normally that's 8 o'clock or 8:30 on Saturday morning. Then I spoke around 10 o'clock at a health fair at Cornerstone Church. And then, as usual, Show Fresh Sustainable Foods, which is our produce company that we developed some years ago because my husband grows so much food and selling it. And now we've revamped it since we've moved back to New Orleans. We sell every Saturday from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. in front of King and Queen Emporium at 2500 Bayou Road in New Orleans. The biggest intersection, I would say, is North Broad and Esplanade, so it's right around there in the historic Tremaine neighborhood. Then we did that. Then my oldest daughter had to babysit yesterday evening, so we took her there. We came home, processed some things. And you know it was nice? Last night, we sat down and just ate some crabs. Last night for dinner, I had crabs and watermelon, and it was great. It was easy. Throw everything in the trash and you're finished. No cleanup, no cooking. You just buy the crabs, eat them, eat the watermelon, throw everything out, compost. We do compost the watermelon rinds and really any fruit and vegetable scraps. My husband also pickles watermelon rinds. Now that's something that some people haven't heard of. He didn't always do that. My mother said that her parents and grandparents and their family members in Virginia, in Westmoreland County, used to pickle watermelon rinds. And so when I told that to my husband, probably 10 years ago, he tried it. People liked it. He pickles all kinds of stuff. That's something that his dad used to do. So I'm just sharing with you guys. Again, this is practice. I have not promoted this YouTube page. In fact, I haven't even changed the name yet. It was originally for my videos as the Elder Care Coach, and I will still be sharing information regarding elder care, aging services, long-term care services. But I'm also just going to be sharing other things about life, homeschooling, marriage, self-care, raising children, having friends, having a social life, an individual life to yourself, even when you are joined up as a spouse and you are a parent who's responsible for children. You're still responsible for yourself. So I'll be sharing some things like that as well and testing out new things. I'm really just sitting here holding my camera. I've got my foot up on one of these chairs that I'm cleaning, and I've got my hand holding the camera while it's kind of propped up on my knee. So that's pretty comfortable right now. And then my arm doesn't get tired. But if I would get back on my workout routine, my arm wouldn't get so tired because I'd be stronger. So that's another thing too, health and wellness, and just doing regular workouts. Really just regular, consistent exercise. It doesn't even have to do anything big, but I have to work on just doing something consistently. So that's really it. If you don't know, my name is Tamara Prosper. I have about 10 years experience working in long-term care services and aging services. Prior to that, I also taught briefly. I had an in-home daycare, and I did a lot of nonprofit fundraising. So I do some of all of that right now, and I'm figuring out ways to have an income while actually doing the work that is really important to me. Elder care is hugely important to me, but doing it in the skilled nursing facility setting is just not the way for me. Just like that might not be the way for some people to receive their elder care. Skilled nursing isn't for everybody. There are some things that I could share with you that will lessen the likelihood of dependence on living in a skilled nursing facility or just a nursing home. So that's really me. I have my Build and Balance blog. This is part of that. Realizing that, over the summer, I had more time because I got fired. If you read my first few blogs, it's me venting about getting fired from doing what I loved, which was being a nursing home administrator, which allowed me to really serve elders. But I could only really serve the elders in the one individual location where I worked. So, although I was angry, I was hurt, I was confused, I didn't understand, really, I'm glad that I got fired because I doubt I would have ever quit that job because I liked doing it. It's what I wanted to do. It's what I had worked toward. But over the summer, I had some time to just really grieve that loss, figure things out, vent a little bit, and I wasn't really working, so I had more time to develop the blog and write. Now I've started my own business, and so I do consulting work. And even though I'm not up to being completely full-time, I just don't have the amount of free time that I had, especially because school has started. And so I've got to take one of my children to school and homeschool the other two. So I just don't have that kind of time. But I can sit here and ramble on and talk to you guys about what I am doing, which is to build and balance. We are building a legacy not only for our household and our children and their children, but for our community, for our neighborhood, as a people, as a black woman, as a woman of color, as a minority in the United States, with all of the things that we're dealing with these days, none of which are new, but much of which had been well hidden for years, or at least set aside to where people thought, I shouldn't say this because there are repercussions, I've got to hide how I'm feeling. Well, now they have been given all the freedom to tell the truth about how they really feel, and I see that as a blessing because I'd rather just know. If you don't like me, don't pretend to like me. Or maybe you don't know me as an individual, but you don't like my kind of people. You don't want to be around us. You think something's wrong with us, or you just feel like whatever you feel, I'd rather know about it. So even though there is a struggle in a way in our current climate in this nation, not only the real climate, because that's a whole other conversation about how we are doing all kinds of things to the planet, and eventually the planet is going to fight back. It's not really eventual, it's happening. Climate change is real. But the political and social climate, pendulums swing. So when the pendulum went one way and we had leadership that certain people just couldn't believe would ever happen in our nation, the pendulum swung back the other way, and now people are showing their true colors. And I really don't mind it. It's a little sad, it's a little frustrating because growing up I had believed and hoped that really, most of the civil rights battle was finished before I was even born. And my generation's job was just to take those gains and those opportunities and do better for the future generations. But obviously the battle is not complete. So there's a lot more work to be done. So those are some things that I'm going to be talking about too. There's just a lot of stuff on my mind. Also, just so people know, I am a Christian. And in that I mean I try to follow the example of the man that we call Christ, who lived a little more than 2,000 years ago. I have concerns about the way people call themselves Christians in the United States right now, especially as they try to affiliate it with nationalism and with patriotism, because they're not the same thing. So there are times when I really hesitate to call myself a Christian because I don't want people to immediately affiliate with or associate me with the people who, for example, are sometimes politicians, or they use certain ideals that they call Christian to effect political changes or political things that they want to happen. Um, in my opinion, many people who claim to be Christian, who go to church, who, are some of the loudest voices that you hear about Christianity, don't behave like Christ at all, and don't seem to understand that Christ loved the poor. Well, he loved everybody. He came to sacrifice his life for everybody, but he spent time with the people that the elites thought were not worth their time and were actually beneath them. He hung out with, prostitutes. He hung out with the tax collectors, who in that time were considered bad people because they were working with the government that was occupying Judea. Poor people, people who were just on the fringes of society, he felt were worthy of his time, his effort, his commitment, and he didn't do the kinds of things that some of the people who claim Christianity and who do things in his name are doing now. So that's one reason why I'm very careful to say I try to follow the man that we call Christ. His name was not, if you called him Jesus Christ at the time, he would have known who you were talking about, but that wasn't really what people called him at the time. In fact, the only reason he would have known is because he is a holy God on the equivalent of his father, so of course he knew the future, and that's what people would call him. But that is not an Aramaic name. That is not a Jewish name. The S sound, the J sound weren't even part of the language at the time. So that's why, I would say, and I don't have the correct accent and pronunciation, but the name would be Yeshua, Mashiach, probably Ben Yusuf. So that's almost translated to Joshua, the Christ, son of Joseph. Something like that. Anyway, most people know him as Jesus Christ in English these days, and that's who I try to pattern my life after, remembering that he told us that we should help the sick, take care of the poor, take care of the orphans and the widows, visit the people who are in jail, feed the hungry, clothe the naked. We're supposed to give people equal treatment regardless of their circumstances and care about them. So anyway, that's a whole other tangent I went on. That's it. I promise that when I really get this thing started, I'll have actual topics and I will talk about normal things, or at least I'll have a focus. All of these things are normal to me, but I'll probably try to pick one thing at a time and talk about that. Anyway, right now I'm going to get back to cleaning these chairs so that I can spray paint them. They need time to dry, and the breeze is beautiful and perfect for that right now. And then I'll have to go pick my daughters up from their babysitting job. I hope you all are having a blessed and wonderful day, and I hope you enjoy building and balancing with me. Bye-bye.